Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today at the iconic Colaba barracks built in 1891 called the Nest. And I have the incredible honor to introduce Brigadier Suresh Salokhe, a 1971 war veteran from the Indian Army. We're about to take a deep dive into the various aspects of Indian Army, brave Jawans, and the officers' leadership qualities. I invite you to join me as we explore the insights and lessons Brigadier Suresh Salokhe has to share from his 34 years of service from the line of control in Kashmir to Kanyakumari, spanning the high altitudes of Sikkim and Bhutan to the thick jungles of Nagaland, Mizoram and Manipur, as well as the deserts of Rajasthan. Let's give a warm welcome to Brigadier Suresh Salokhe and get ready to learn from his vast experiences. Welcome to the show and thank you for being here today.
Good afternoon, Joel Madtha. Thank you very much for being so nice and give due credit to the veterans of Indian Army.
Just to begin with, I thought that it might be very interesting for the public to understand where the rank of the brigadier falls in the hierarchy of the Indian Army. So if you could shed some light on it.
See, Brigadier, Major General and Lieutenant General, they come under General Officers cadre. So from the hierarchy, leaving aside the topmost appointment of Chief of the Army Staff, the Lieutenant General, Major General and Brigadier. This is how the hierarchy stands. And thereafter, the ranks of Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel, Major, Captain, Lieutenant. This is the rank system in the Indian Army.
Understood. Would you be able to share your journey of entering the Indian Army and the path you took to becoming a brigadier? What were some of the challenges and milestones along the way?
See, during our time, that is way back in 1962, there wasn't much of publicity to join the Indian Army. Students always prefer to be doctors and engineers. And they never used to be taught for army as a career. But see, as the luck would have it or fortune would have it, we were very much interested in the army as a young student studying in class 8. But I could not tell openly because of my height and weight. I must say, it's a matter of great fortune for me. I met my friend, Lieutenant Colonel Salokhe, who is not here. He was interested in the army, along with my another friend, Pradeep Desai, who is also no more, to join the army. So we were three in the school who would always speak about the army. The rest were not interested. So while being in Auxiliary Cadet Corps, that is ACC, class 8 onwards, I spoke to a number of instructors from the army and expressed my desire to join Indian Army. But you'll be surprised, they always try to demotivate, saying that army life is not all that good. You must become doctors or engineers, do anything. Because during those days, army wasn't much in demand. The life was extremely tough. Perks, facilities were not there as they should have been. So, even as instructors in the Auxiliary Cadet Corps, they always told us, please don't join army. Notwithstanding, thereafter, as I told you, the peer pressure does matter. But at the back of my mind, joining army was always there. So again, as I said, that time, my friend Pradeep Salokhe introduced me to the Guidance Institute at Kolhapur, which was run by Mr. Vaidya. God bless his soul, he is no more. And he used to run the classes for joining Indian Armed Forces. So when I went to him, I was slightly hesitant because not having that height. And in the literal sense, people say, if you have to join army, you must have gruffy voice, that image, mustaches, the height, which I didn't have.
The very stereotypical.
So yes, I said, may I ask you, sir, can I join army? He says, why not? Then I asked him, sir, but people say you have to have 6 feet height and good personality and mustaches, etc. He says, what nonsense? Army doesn't require bulls. They require intelligent persons. So that's how he motivated me. And then I started preparing. But you'll be surprised. I never told to my classmates because during those days, the impression always existed that you should be under officer in the NCC. Again, that height, weight criteria was there. And I told my father. So initially, he was also taken aback. But then, again, he spoke to one of his good friends. Why I'm telling you? Because how these 3-4 personalities came into my life because of whom I could become an officer. So that was the most prominent personality, member of parliament, late Bhosef Mhangaonkar. He happened to be his friend. So he asked, my son is studying in the science college and he wants to join army because nobody knew about army, nobody from my family. So he said, why not? Let him be an army officer. So my father was convinced. Based upon the advice of Mr. Vaidya, I appeared for this UPSC examination, Indian Military Academy Examination 1965. I still have that advertisement in front of me. I paid for the written examination. It was conducted by UPSC. There's 6 papers. And then you'd be surprised again. Journey from Colaba to Mumbai to appear for the examination. I never wanted my friends to know that I would join army because they would make full of me rather majak. Look, this fellow is trying to join army. What nonsense. Anyway, I had studied hard. I went there. I went for the examination. Then I forgot about it. One day I was sleeping. Now this is the another person who came in my life. My brother came at 11:30 at night. And he showed me a piece of paper in which the results of UPSC were declared and my name was there. It was given to me by a friend. Why am I quoting the incidents? That gave me sufficient time to prepare for the interview. Otherwise, passing of examination is intimated by the UPSC just 4-5 days before the interview, and then you cannot prepare. So, this is indirectly my brother came into my life. I could prepare well for I got 1 month time, and then I could go for the interview. So I went for the interview. I was well prepared. There were people from various parts of country. So again, because of my short stature in the group discussion, I used to speak. The other fellows from different communities, tall, handsome, they used to get irritated and they would try to shut me down. Huh? But then group discussion, I never shut myself. I kept on going whatever I felt because that was the requirement in the group. So in the interview, everything was over. Now what happened? Once the complete thing was, the last interview is by the president of the board. So when I went for the president's interview, it was a long interview. So people thought, in the sense students thought, either he is rejected or something. How can the interviews last so long? He was asking me various questions and how will you go back, etc. This thing. Anyway, I came back. Then after the interview, they declared the results. So let's say 30 candidates sitting and they say number 1. Get up. Number 5. Number 12. So my name number came. I stood up and that was the great moment in my life. That's all. That's how I was commissioned. Not commissioned, selected. And then went for the medical test. 2 days medical test. See, the interview lasts for 4 days. Then 2 days medical test because they have to check every part of your body. You have to be fit in that. I passed the medical test also. Then there is a merit list. That means the return marks and the interview. All these marks are combined. Thereafter, the merit list is made. And there were only 35 vacancies in the Indian Military Academy. So somehow I got through. My name came. And then I joined Indian Military Academy. Very proud to say that because Field Marshal Manik Shah was the first Field Marshal of Indian Army who passed out from Indian Military Academy, which was established in 1932 by the British Raj in Deterred. Uttar Pradesh.
Right. I also wanted to ask you, how does the rank of a brigadier differ from other ranks within the army?
It is a ladder system and it's a triangle system for which again people do feel ki the highest rank is one only chief of army staff. Then there is the lieutenant general, major general, brigadiers. So it is a rank system. You join as a second lieutenant. After 2-3 years of service, you become captain. 10 years of service, you become major. Good old days, after 16 years, you want to become lieutenant colonel. But now it is gradually, the period has been reduced. He becomes lieutenant colonel. To command a battalion, one has to be selected from major to lieutenant colonel to colonel.
Right.
Up to lieutenant colonel is now it's automatic. Lieutenant colonel to colonel also, by the time one retires, he gets superannuated rank. But to become a brigadier, you have to be in the selection grade. That is lieutenant colonel to colonel and colonel to brigadier.
Right.
It is a hierarchy.
It's just
as you get selected, you keep on reaching the higher ranks based upon your annual confidential reports.
Okay.
So if there is something undesirable written in your annual confidential report, you do not get selected. If the qualities which are required in an officer, in a rank, you do not get the adequate marks out of 9, the average goes down and you do not get a chance.
Right.
Not that other persons are unfit, but it is based upon the rank system, based upon the marking system. And like in a competitive exam, somebody gets particular number of marks, he gets selected. There is a cutoff.
Right.
What you call
But it did take you 28 years to get from one rank
yes,
to the other
first
rank.
yes.
So for 28 years of evaluation, and who evaluates?
Every officer who is in charge, like under whom you serve, like as a second lieutenant, there is a commanding officer who is the rank of colonel.
Right.
He evaluates you. The next rank, brigadier, he gives his remark.
Right.
Third is new commander, his rank of major general, he gives. And fourth is the army commander. But for a second lieutenant, captain, brigadier, major, it doesn't matter much till captain, because even if he is reported, let's say, by his commanding officer, the brigadier who is above colonel, he also writes his own. That means every
So
officer.
360-degree evaluation.
Yes, every officer above the rank of captain is, you can say, 4 officers are there.
Right.
That means somebody is outstanding. If somebody comes to knowledge, then his thing is taken care of. So it goes into your record of service.
How do you think the Indian Army has evolved over a period of time from the time, you've left or you've retired from the army?
Tremendously. The standard of rations have gone up. Jawans' pensions have been improved, though there is a lot which is going on, one rank, one pension. That is because, see, others are also have come up. So there is always a official comparison of the army versus the civil services. And army never ask anything exclusively for themselves. They always say whatever you lay down for the class 1, 2, 3 services in the civil, paramilitary forces, the army, it can be same. And for which the things are taken up.
Right.
So they have tried to mitigate the difficulties in a lot of manner, like if we had a khichdi, now they get good ration. Naturally, with the service, this thing.
So you're saying the ration has improved. Ration may be just one aspect of it. How about training?
Training though is always hard. Training continuously with the equipment, etc. It is an ongoing process. In the army is famous for the training.
Right.
If you ask me what is the one single most reason why army is looked upon as the ideal organization in the country, it is because of the hard training, equally by men and officers.
So do you think they've integrated a lot more technology now as opposed to how
it is
used to be
coming.
before?
There are 2 aspects. Technology is coming, but what we say, technology has to be home driven. Why? Other nations would be interested to palm off their technology or technology. They would not never even need technology, and so make you dependent on them.
Right.
Like 71 war, we had the equipment of a particular country. It was obsolete and it was not coming.
Right.
So now very rightly the move has started to indigenize the defense equipment in our country so that we do not depend on other countries.
Yeah.
Second point, how much weapon equipment, how much other sources we should depend upon.
Right.
See, we should not fall into the arms race.
Right.
Soviet Union was disintegrated due to arms race.
Right.
And that condition, people will try to indirectly force upon you so that you keep on spending more and more on weapons and equipment and your economy goes for a fix.
Agreed.
Our basic thing is we are for the people, people are for us. So we have to ensure the basic fight or ladai is against the poverty,
Right. Right.
against whatever bad thing the farmers are undergoing. Kisan, Majdur. So that thing has to come up. A nation has to build up economically well.
I also wanted to ask you about your 1985 battalion that you raised, the 16th Bihari Regiment, and in Galwan. Is that something that you can talk about? I know that you won 20 awards for it. So,
See, the battalion won 20 awards, not myself. 16 Bihar was raised after Operation Blue Star.
right.
That time, General Sundarji thought that there is a particular community which needs to be diversified and sent in all the infantry battalions. Other regiments like artillery, armored corps, EME, they have the mixed composition. But in infantry, they have got Maratha, Jat, Sikh, Bihar, like that, based upon the territorial acquisition. Now, when these troops were sent, everyone was that time slightly in different mood. And when the battalion was raid, whatever list we had sent, nobody came because then people wanted to get out of it. Since it was a different battalion, the only battalion of mixed composition in the Bihar regiment, 16 Bihar. And I was there. I got the order to report immediately because nobody had come by that time.
Right.
My wife was not there. She had gone to home because I had gone for exercise. So I used to write from my exercise area to my Sahayak in Dakshai. ऐसे ऐसे सामान पैक करना है. Based upon my wife's letter, he used to pack it. And then that is how the complete stuff was packed by my Sahayak. We called them battle buddies.
Right.
Imagine, wife is away at station, I am away. The stuff is with your battle buddies. And that too with 6 chickens, 6 rabbits, 1 big dog. All this thing they pack. I came from deserts. Then they say, Sahab, how can we go with all this stuff with 6 chickens, dog and this thing in truck? And that too through Bihar. We are little scared. So I said, Theek, I'll come. So I traveled in the truck, mind you, the truck which goes at night. And we traveled at night in Bihar. I was stopped in between by a police constable and told, Sahab, आगे मत जाना. आगे रास्ते के ऊपर कल रात को 10 ट्रक को लूट गया है in Bihar के अंदर. So I halted there in one of the police station. Totally dark. There was no electricity. But for that night I halted and then I went and joined the battalion. People are coming from different communities, Sikhs, Gadwal, Bihar. We did not know who they were. So that was initial way of settling down an infantry battalion where you do not know who they are.
Right.
You have to check their documents, you have to check their everything, weapons, etc. Ammunition. It is like raising a small outfit. It's not a big outfit, 1,000 men.
Right.
Administration, equipment, weapon, accommodation. We didn't have place to sleep. They used to sleep on the veranda because there was no place to sleep in the center, Danapur. But we ensured, again, same principles, be impartial, give them the facility which they are entitled by making efforts. So things went on. Then the question came, raising of a mandir, because our people require mandir. We had Christians, they required church. And then there were Sikhs, they said Gurudwara. And we had no accommodation, no tentage. So I said, okay, 1 tent EPIP was given, establish your church, mandir and Gurudwara in 1 tent. So that became a classical beginning. I had published an order, हम सब एक है. यहाँ सिख, गढ़वालीज, बिहारी ये सबको दिखा देंगे कि हम सब एक ही माँ के बच्चे हैं और हमारा नारा यही रहेगा, हम एक है.
Right.
So that was the order published and it remained for quite long. हम एक है.
Yeah. Would you say that that is a legacy
Yes.
that you've left behind?
Yes.
Right.
That is right. So I can show you that pattern order also.
Right.
It has become a historical thing. And that's how the church mandir for people is to pray what you call Hindu deity, then turn right, pray Christian deity, Jesus, and turn left, pray Gurudwara. Very unusual thing in an infantry battalion. Has not been practiced anywhere since independence. Neither it has been tried because nobody plays with the religion.
From your years of service, I'm sure there were unsung heroes, which I think you call uncut gems. Now, do you want to share something about your unsung heroes during your years of service?
Oh yes, there were some people now. They had certain qualities which people may not think or they may not have experienced such type of qualities in the army. And that's why we call them uncut gems because they were not supposed to do the job which they had done. I'll tell you one thing. We had one Suvidar Narayan Singh. I just forgot his name. I'm trying to recollect. When he was the last night I found, we had 10 kilometers run. That is common in the Indian army. Everybody knows. In the 10 kilometers run, we have to run with our weapon. So we used to carry our weapon, personal weapon, 10 gun or rifle. Jawans carry it. Purposely, everyone wants to carry a light weapon because he has to run for it. And there I found this fellow quietly standing with light machine gun. Now, light machine gun is manned by 2 persons, but it is given on one name to maintain it. So since it was given on his name, he was so proud of it that he was carrying light machine gun for 10 kilometers. I was standing there, I found this fellow carrying. I asked the junior commissioned officer, how's that he's carrying LMG? He says, that person says in Hindi, साहब ये मेरा personal हथियार है और इसके साथ लेकर ही मैं दौड़ूंगा क्योंकि ये battle physical efficiency test है. Now I wonder how many persons in the Indian army had experienced or come across such an individual. That is why I call this unconscious.
Brigadier Salokhe, what is your message and advice to the youth of today who are aspiring to join the Indian Army?
See, life has become very competitive. So the selection process, that is appearing for UPSC examination, appearing for the interview, medical fitness, all these things are same. But because of the competition, it has become more difficult for the today's youth. But if a person wants to achieve, there is no stopping for that. If they can appear for other civil examinations, engineering examinations, IIT, IS, IPS, so is the Combined Defense Services Examination or National Defense Academy. There are a number of sources. There are a number of ways to join the army. Firstly, as Jawan, NCOs, officers, engineers, doctors. But the person must have that liking, basic intuition in mind. We were told the first day, gentlemen, if you join army because of the money, please do not join. So money is not the criteria. They told us join some other ventures. It is a career. It is a neat and clean living. Disciplined form of living. It's a living where you can contribute yourself professionally, sports, physical fitness, and all other requirements which are necessary for healthy and enjoyable living.
Right.
So this is where most of the youth must get into the picture. And if they want to join, they should ensure they start preparing by keeping these things in mind.
Right.
And this is how they have to ingrain in themselves the qualities which are required.
Right.
And the preparation which is required.
Right.
So it's a continuous process. It is not that some people say, अरे यार वो नहीं मिला अभी मैं ठीक आर्मी को देखता हूँ. It is not that alternative procedure that if I do not get selected, I'll go for the army. No, if you decide to go for the army, you should go all out. And that is found out in your psychological tests, etc. What for your join army, what are your character ingredients.
Right.
It is not because you find it looks little
Flashy.
classical and flashy, and so it's a life where both things matter.
Thank you very much, Brigadier Salokhe, for this wonderful conversation. And I'm very happy that you've invited me here in the Colaba barracks, which is called the Nest. It's such an iconic building, and the privilege of having this conversation with you, sharing insights into your past, your tenure as a brigadier in the army. So it's a very interesting insights, and thank you for the lessons that you shared with us on this podcast. And thank you for being on the Joel Madtha show.